If I say who I really want, y'all won't gonna believe me.
Triple G don't want to fight.
He don't want to fight, so I won't Canelo.
I guarantee you don't retire for a fight.
One time.
If I can't get
Al Heyman is the best. We got the best fighters over here.
Please.
Oh God.
Best.
The best. Oh God. Hey, and we all got a check.
Oh,
Listen.
AB.
We coming back.
Yeah, we back. We back.
We got the best big names in boxing.
Yeah.
Errol the Truth Spence says Bob Arum needs to go back to the drawing board, and he's not giving Crawford his props and building him promotionally. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chat channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We working now. Man, I don't even know what to say. I told you. The same thing going on. I did a video. WBC announced Shawn Porter versus Errol Spence. No shock here. There hasn't been officially announced by PBC, but based on the rumors and the WBC whose champion is Shawn Porter, I want to say that this fight is, pretty much sealed up. Now, Errol Spence is out in Vegas, and he's supporting his Olympic brother, Robert Easter Jr., his friend from a long time. Actually, I don't know if Robert Easter was on the Olympics or if he was at the Olympic trials in the training center. But either way, it's his longtime friend. So he's fighting Rances Bartholomew today. So make sure you guys check that fight out, Mayweather Promotions. This is what he had to say. I'm on Michael Benson. He's a reporter for Talk Sport. And he's quoting an article from Keith Idec. And it says, Errol Spence on Terence Crawford. I think Bob Arum needs to get back to the drawing board if he thinks me and Terence Crawford is going to be a 50-50 split in a 50-50 deal. If I'm bringing in probably 400K plus pay-per-view buys and Crawford, he's doing 100 and something, why should we split it? He also says his promoter needs to do a better job promoting him, I guess. I feel like he was a failure on the promotional side, so I think Bob Arum needs to go back to that drawing board, And he said it's not just the opponents he's fighting, but the whole promotional thing behind him. Like when Showtime promotes and when Fox promotes, they really put everything into it. With the Crawford fight, you really didn't hear nothing until the week of the fight. I kind of forgot about it. I didn't hear nothing about it until the week of the fight. They started promoting it probably Thursday or Friday. That's when it really got out there like that. So I feel like they could have done a better job of promoting it. He says with Crawford, it's a lack of promotion. I feel like Bob doesn't promote Terence Crawford like he should. I don't know what that's about, but I feel like he promotes Vasily Lomachenko way better than they promote Crawford. Even with the lead up to the promotion of the Crawford fight, they were talking about Lomachenko in the same sentence with Crawford. Why are you talking about Lomachenko when you've got your pay-per-view fighter fighting Saturday night? Every time they mention Crawford, they mention Lomachenko. What are you doing that for when you've got Crawford fighting? When I fought on pay-per-view, they didn't mention guys. They didn't mention Keith Thurman. They didn't mention Manny Pacquiao. They mentioned me. They mentioned me versus Garcia, not Keith Thurman, or Pacquiao. If somebody mentioned Pacquiao, Keith Thurman, it was me who mentioned them, who I would like to fight next. I feel like the proof is in the pudding, how they handled the whole promotion. Me, I wasn't even watching like that, and I noticed they were handling the promotion, keep bringing up Lomachenko. Even after Crawford's fight, they kept bringing up Lomachenko. Why? They're not even in the same weight class. Why do you keep bringing this guy up? So I feel like they're over-promoting him, overkill, and Terence Crawford is not a guy who's going to speak up. He's a guy who's just going to fight. End quote. That's from an article done with reporter Keith Idec. Wow. Now, this is uncanny. New media, digital mob. I told you we is boxing. We are boxing. MOB. We are the mob. Money on top of boxing. New media. I've been saying the same shit. Like, when it comes to Terence Crawford, he's a phenomenal fighter. And there's nobody that I know that doesn't respect the skill set of Terence Crawford. Some people liken him to Mayweather and compare him to Pernell Whitaker. He's a great, crafty fighter, best of both worlds. But, you know, I think they miss Top Rank and ESPN kind of missed Terence Crawford's mark. You know, they missed the mark and they miss his market. You know, Crawford, if you've ever seen him or been around him, he's actually fun to be around, but they don't really showcase that side. So every time I see Crawford promoted, he looks like uber serious and, you know, he's like quiet, like, no, I'm just going to go out there and fight Amir Khan. Like, you know, it's not, you don't see the different sides of, it's hard to explain, but, you know, unless I start giving you a ton of examples, you know, you don't get to see the different sides of his personality, and that's through lack of promotion, you know. And, you know, to Terence Crawford's part, I think he's mild-mannered, and if your company isn't giving you the type of promotion, then you have to be a self-promoter, and, you know, you got to make yourself hot. Like, you look at how rappers do in the rap game. Guys like Jay-Z, Dame Dash, they went to the big labels, and they couldn't get the deal, so they invested their own money and made Rockefeller Records. What the fuck, you know, and came up. 50 Cent, he got shot and got dropped from Columbia Records. You know, they're like, oh, he's a liability. What are we going to do? He had a hot album, you know, even had a song with Beyonce. Then he got shot up. Something special, man. Look at everybody listening. Right? 50 Cent. You not rocking with your man 50 Cent, man. You know. And after he got clapped, after he got shot, he had a heel and, you know, the label dropped him. He made himself hot. He came back with this, you know, G-Unit imprint, had people screaming, G. And then he came out with hot mixtapes. He started killing the mixtape game. So, you know, you got to make yourself hot sometimes. So that's what I feel. And what Errol Spence is saying, I actually agree with. Again, this is not a knock on Crawford the fighter. It's not a knock. You know, I know people that know Crawford in his camp and all types of stuff. Crawford knows who I am. But as great as he is, his fights don't necessarily, it's not reaching the market. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's hard to explain. But I told people before, this to me is more power of it's a power battle than anything. You know, with Al Heyman, Bob Arum, stuff like that. I don't think Crawford is afraid of Errol Spence. And I don't think Errol Spence is afraid of Crawford. You know, Errol Spence just fought Kell Brook in his backyard, and Kell Brook is a slick, good boxer, bigger, you know, and he was undefeated at welterweight, and he fought him in Sheffield. So I don't think it comes down to that. But what I do think it comes down to is a battle of power, jockeying for position. You know what I'm saying? And PBC and Al Heyman, they're aligning Errol Spence, like I've been saying, with greatness and the ability, and at least giving him, they're going through the steps. What Errol Spence decides to do, like if he like starts fucking off his training, or if he goes on to do amazing things, that's all predicated by his dedication to the sport. You feel what I'm saying? But they're giving Errol Spence the various opportunities to shine. They're giving him every chance, you know what I'm saying? So it's up to him to capture it. He got the talent. So, you know, it is what it is. And that's what this boils down to. Errol Spence and Top Rank, you know, Errol Spence and PBC, they're making him a star. Like, okay, let's let this man rack up belts, build his brand, get his name. He could do unifications right over here. We don't have to deal with Bob Arum. Bob Arum is going to have to figure it out with his fighter. So you actually kill, like if we're talking about some business is cutthroat. So if we're talking about some business shit, you're actually killing two birds with one stone. You're hurting your competition's business and making it harder, because it's going to, who are they going to have Crawford fight? You know, and that stuff is going to become more and more apparent. And then in addition, you're building your fighter, so when he does see Crawford, his resume and his brand is up here. Has the most belts if he keeps winning, and he's fought the bigger names. And that's what this boils down to, I believe. You know, and I do agree with Errol Spence. I've been saying this myself. Crawford is he's my pound for pound number one in terms of the skill, unifying and becoming undisputed. But with that being said and done, like I've said, Errol Spence is saying the same thing. Top Rank keep talking about Lomachenko. Top Rank in ESPN, well, not Top Rank in this situation, but ESPN keeps putting Lomachenko number one pound for pound. I don't see how the guy with fewer fights, who never had more than one belt until he got up to lightweight, which is a weaker division, than 147 and 140. It's not like it's a booming division. He never had multiple belts until now. Not far off in the age category. And they keep saying Lomachenko is number one pound for pound. Bob Arum is giving him all the clout, or attempting to, by comparing him to Muhammad Ali. There's nothing about Lomachenko that reminds me about Muhammad Ali. They don't look the same. They don't act the same. They don't talk the same. They don't fight the same. They haven't done the same things. Their resumes aren't the same. Their defense is not set up the same. Their style of fight. There's literally nothing about Muhammad Ali. But this is the high level of praise that Bob Arum keeps giving, and he keeps comparing Crawford to Sugar Ray Leonard, who's another great fighter, but Ray Leonard is not as known to the casuals as Muhammad Ali. That's like Mike Tyson. If you say Mike Tyson, people know who Mike Tyson is. So if I had a fighter and I'm saying, hey, Gervonta Tank Davis, he's like Mike Tyson. Versus I had another fighter, let's say Rolly was my fighter, and I'm saying, oh, he fights like John the Beast Mugabe. Who's another good fighter? Julian the Hawk Jackson, another great fighter. That's not going to, the name, it's not like as much of a sticking point, because not everyone knows everything about this. And this is what Bob Arum is doing. It's like they're over promoting. He said the same thing. They're over promoting Lomachenko. Instead of making Lomachenko earn it, they want to give him all these like free spots on the board, and meanwhile Crawford is taking the tougher schedule, and getting less promotion, less exposure, less like when Crawford fought Benavidez, I was at that fight, but I promise you, I could guarantee you that the commentary on ESPN was probably a lot more harsh, because the fight was somewhat competitive, than they were on Lomachenko versus Pedraza, and Lomachenko didn't even look good in that fight, So that's one of the things, being black in America, you got to work 2-3 times harder, maybe even more, to get equal or lesser credit. You can say whatever you want. I don't really care. It's provable. Look at it. Black fighters are in a controversial fight. What do they have to do to appease the public and settle everyone's nerves? They have to do an immediate rematch, But that's not the same for a lot of non-black fighters, and you don't see media or nobody pushing it. Lomachenko still to this day ain't never fought Salido. Mayweather had to fight Castillo the same year that he beat him. He won, unlike Lomachenko, who lost. Mayweather won, and it was too close, and that wasn't good enough, so he had to do it again. Mayweather beat Maidana. That wasn't good enough, so he had to do it again, because the public was saying otherwise, or it was a draw or robbery. Andre Ward won versus Sergey Kovalev. They said that wasn't good enough. So what did he do? He had to do it again. And then he knocked him out. Still didn't get credit. Lomachenko, he never have to rematch Salido. Triple G, he don't have to rematch Danny Jacobs. In fact, I know he just split with Abel, but when they were still a tandem, Abel said, we'd rather fight the loser. We'd rather fight, even if Canelo loses to Jacobs, who are fighting next week, he says, we'd rather fight Canelo. And again, there's no pressure for that. So we see this. This is that old media shit. This is what they like to do. It's like, instead of giving credit. So, in this situation, I'm not picking sides and all that. I don't do that. I like Crawford and I like Spence, but I'm also a man, and I can express my thoughts, my truest thoughts, and do it tastefully and respectfully. And I agree with Errol Spence here. Errol Spence, you look at the promotion behind him, they're not treating it the same way. You know, they're not treating Crawford the same way. PBC, to what I see, they're just giving Spence opportunities, and he has to show up and shine and look good under the bright lights. And if he keeps doing that, then he's winning. You know, they're not taking away his promotion by, you know, constantly mentioning somebody else that, you know, like, hey, Errol Spence, he's fighting Mikey Garcia. Oh, but Joey Spencer. But what about Caleb Plant? You know what I'm saying? Like, people that don't have nothing to do with his immediate future. You get what I'm saying? Like ESPN and Top Rank. They act like Lomachenko has done something that no one's ever seen and all this stuff. I don't see all that. Because if you could genetically engineer Lomachenko and put him in the same division as Roy Jones Jr., prime for prime, Lomachenko getting stretched. There's no way Roy would lose to Lomachenko. He don't even have the style, the power, the pressure, nothing to beat. So how could you say we never seen this before, and he's not even better than fighters that I grew up idolizing? You know, we've never seen what Lomachenko's did, but he not better than Roy in his prime. He don't even have knockouts like Roy. His knockouts are accumulation, throw 1,000 punches to maybe get you out of there. And versus Crawford, he actually is hurting guys and making them quit, and, you know, showing a different side of him. Like Victor Postal, he had just beaten Lucas Matisse and made him quit. And Terence Crawford dogged him. You know, when he was a champion in a unification, dropped him like a couple times, 2 or 3 times. You know, Amir Khan, he's always show heart. This fight with Crawford, he didn't really show heart. Yet that's being praised less from Top Rank and ESPN. You tell me what's up. Let me know what you guys think. I agree with Errol Spence here. And to me, this is not about, the fight's not happening next. I already told you that. So new media, got that right. And then 2, I don't think this is it's not even a battle of, it's more than meets the eye. It's about jockeying for position. It's about leverage. It's about power. It's about negotiating. And whether you like it or not, Al Heyman in the welterweight division, Errol Spence, they're in the driver's seat, you know, and this is what Bob Arum fears, which is what I've been telling you. How you, if the Terence Crawford Khan numbers never come out and it's only rumored at 150, then that kind of tells you what you need to know. Because if it was a crazy success, then why wouldn't they talk about the numbers? Why won't Bob Arum confirm it? You know, and ESPN is too big of a platform to produce numbers like 150,000. That goes to show you what Crawford is saying, what I've been saying is adequate, because I think fans would love Crawford if they knew more about him, like casuals and stuff like that. But they don't. So that does go to show you the promotion was lacking, because Errol Spence did more than double that with Mikey Garcia, and it had a better promotion, which is what I told you. So you could get mad, but you can't really disprove it. So it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think. I think they're battling for power, and the way it's looking, Errol Spence has more opportunities to grow his brand next level. Top Rank, who are they going to feed? Kell Brooks, someone Errol Spence already knocked out. You know what I'm saying? They're going to feed him to Crawford, and he didn't even look good in his last fight with a stripper, Michael Zarafa. Or they're gonna put Crawford in with Mean Machine and all these different fighters from, you know, everywhere else outside of America that Top Rank has decided to sign and focus on and put on every card and build exposure. I told you, everything from now on goes through new media and the American market, because it's the biggest market. Everybody comes to America to become a star. Canelo Alvarez, Manny Pacquiao, you know, Gennady Golovkin, Lennox Lewis, Anthony Joshua's about to fight in America. There's nobody that I know of, you know, that comes from a foreign land from the U.S. that did not go through the U.S. channels to reach the supreme heights. You know, Julio Cesar Chavez, he fought in Texas. Pernell Whitaker. Everybody goes through America, and we bringing it back. That's just what it is. I have nothing against anyone from any place, but the American public, you have to start appeasing us. You have to start putting on fights that make sense to us. You have to start, if there's fighters from other nations and other places, you have to start putting them in front of our eyes so we get a glimpse of them before they end up fighting in a bigger fight. Like Tyson Fury, Tom Schwartz. Top Rank got in the way of Wilder Fury, which would have been a great rematch to settle the score, and pulled the plug on that, right? To make Tyson Fury versus Tom Schwartz. I've never even heard of this fucking guy. I cover boxing. I'm not being facetious. I'm not being funny. I'm not being jovial. I never heard of Tom Schwartz ever. And I follow and fuck with the heavyweight division because, you know, it's coming back. So if Top Rank is making busting moves like that, then, you know, it's hard for me to believe that you really want to make Errol Spence, Terence Crawford like that. And even if you do, then that's a statement. Why do you want to put Crawford again if he's behind Lomachenko in the pound for pound list per ESPN, and Lomachenko's Ali and Crawford's just Sugar Ray Leonard? Then why are you putting Crawford in the craziest of fights? Lomachenko get to fight Luke Campbell, 2 losses. Richard Comey, 2 losses. Don't have to fight Teofimo Lopez, undefeated, looking like a stud, you know. But you want to put Crawford in with the best welterweight, the best other welterweight in the world, you know, 1A and 1B, Errol Spence. So either way, it poses questions. Why is Crawford's schedule got to be this like intense? You know, a Khan fight, which Khan has speed, a big name. He's hard to outbox. Crawford made it look easy, but now he got to fight Spence. Meanwhile, Lomachenko get to fight, you know, Luke Campbell and guys with losses for these belts and, you know, vacant belts. Tyson Fury gets to dip out and duck the Wilder rematch and fight Tom Schwartz. But you want to put Spence in there that tough? I mean, Crawford in there that tough with Spence, you know? So there's truth to what Errol Spence is saying about this promotion. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.